Hi, and welcome to the first video for this series for typical tools that cybersecurity professionals would use for a multitude of different reasons. In this video, we'll be going over vulnerabilities, right? So usually as a cyber professional, crucial part of the skill set is the ability to detect software vulnerabilities in infrastructure. So as technology advances, we can see that there has been a shift in the way cyber attacks have been conducted, right? So the focus on exploiting vulnerabilities in network infrastructure has moved to detecting and exploiting vulnerabilities in software applications such as web apps, for example. So with companies moving more and more resources to cloud service providers or making use of hosted infrastructures for specific web applications, it's become crucial that these applications are secured to prevent cyber criminals from processing any harm, right? So what I'm going to do in this video is use the DAM vulnerable web application that I'll be demonstrating how vulnerabilities can be detected by using this software vulnerability scanner. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, I'll be opening up XMAP. Now, XMAP, let's see, that's me. All right, perfect. So what XMAP is, this is an application used to host an Apache web application, usually on Windows and Linux operating systems. So the application also configures the necessary MySQL database for the install in the infrastructure. The app has already usually been configured to run the vulnerability web app. So let's open it up here. Then we're going to start the Apache and the MySQL. All right. All right. And because I'm starting these because they need to run for the DVWA to be accessible. So I'm just going to minimize this here. Now, after starting these particular services, it's going to be seen that which specific ports for the are open for the DVWA to function. So like port 80 and port 443, which are used for web application traffic on the network, where port 80 uses the HTTP protocol, right? And port 443 uses the HTTPS protocol. And the HTTPS protocol, as we all know, is more secure as it encrypts the network. So the protocol doesn't encrypt, where the regular HTTP protocol doesn't encrypt the traffic, right? So let me go ahead and open this up so I can get to the DVWA. I got this here. Let's see. Let's get it up the way. Type. Okay. Fine. Right. Okay. Should have just come up. And that's what it should have populated. Next to that. All right, perfect. So we got back on track. We were off for a bit second there. I had an extra number and in the web address. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to be able to download it here. All right, perfect. So just going to see, let's see, WB. Okay. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to put this to low. All right. Now for a second here, let's talk about this for a second. So the application, the DVWA, it has several security levels, and these levels, as you can see here, can be changed depending on the type of security exercise that needs to be conducted and the experience level of the cyber professional. So now what I'm going to do is conduct a software vulnerability scan using AlienVault here. And because the software vulnerability scan can be conducted on the web, on the DVWA using AlienVault, which is also an open source security information and event management tool, and it can be used to detect software vulnerabilities in web apps. And these detected vulnerabilities, they need to be reflected by the cyber professional to ensure the environment is secure from exploits and potential data breaches, of course. So let's go ahead and connect that. Let's see here. All right, so I'm just going to start with the browser here. Pretty much going to do what I did for the DVWA. Just hopefully not turn the wrong. Go here. All right. Now, even though the error message displays that the connection is not secure, I'm going to ignore it because of the website. The website uses a self-signed web certificate. So in a production environment, a third-party certificate it will be installed to ensure the website can be accessed securely. So it's going to go here, right? And here. Perfect. All right. Then vulnerabilities. Now the AVault, which I like to call it, it's an app that can be used for several different types of vulnerability scans. For this particular exercise, a software vulnerability scan is what I'm going to do. So let's take a look here. Scan jobs. We want to do a new one here. And then in the create one, I'm just going to do perfect. And then let's see. I want this one. Perfect. Did it again. Did okay. All right, perfect. All right, so now I'm just going to hit save here. Looks like it's saved. Previous one, unless I did it twice here. All right, but we do see that the specific IP address that was entered above us now hosts the DVWA application. Let me go back here. Let me see if it'll. I just want to refresh it. So there it is. Let me do it again. It looks like it didn't save. All right, no problem. Let's see. Let's see here. Perfect. So I'm gonna hit save. There it is. All right, perfect. Let me just refresh it. Okay. All right, perfect. So now that I've saved and it's refreshed, I'm just going to do a scan right now. Actually, let me make sure it's scanning. Yeah, it looks like it's going to take its time to scan. Let's see. All right, so we finally have the scan done. It took about 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do next is take a look at the report, the PDF, and as you can see, it'll populate in different tabs. We can see the vulnerability report with the total number of vulnerabilities, when it was scanned, date and time, the host internet protocol, and the level of the vulnerabilities, right? So some pretty good stuff, right? And we can actually explore a couple different things here as far as the breakdown of each vulnerability that it did find, right? So it's automatically displayed as far as the report once you click you want the PDF. Usually that's the best one to look at. The specific report can be used by a cyber professional to rectify like any newly discovered vulnerabilities. In the report suggested, rectification of the vulnerabilities will also be a thing as well. So I'm just going to I'm going to minimize this, and then I'll move on to the next step here. All right, so now I'm just going to conduct a software vulnerability scan using Nessus. And I'm going to be using Nessus on the damn vulnerable web application. All right, so let's see, where can I find it here? Oh, it's not on this one. That's why it's on here. Go back to the XMAP here. All right, perfect. So have the XMAP was still open from previous exercise or earlier video. So the services are still running, as you can see from the Apache and the MySQL. All right, so I'm now going to reopen the Edge browser here, and I'm going to type this web address. Let's see. All right, perfect. Now, of course, it has the connection as a private, but that's fine. Usually, again, it displays that because the connection may not be secure, or it isn't secure rather. But I'll ignore it, right? Of course, since we're in the lab, so I'll just continue. Let me go back here. Perfect. So it allows me to access Nessus. Right. All right, perfect. So now I'm in Nessus, so I want to do a new scan. Just gotta actually let me zoom out. It's a bit too close for my liking. So I'm gonna do a web application test. Then I'll name it yeah, that's what I did, but perfect. All right, and then I'll do this one here. The scan, and then I want to hit save. Now that specific, as you can, I'm not sure if you saw it, but that specific IP address was added in the targets field. Is that of this particular machine from Windows 10, which hosts now the DVWA application. So now we're in the My Scans window, and I'm going to select the one I just created here. And then it should, okay, yeah, I'm able to launch here. Perfect. So it's going to take generally about 5 minutes to complete the scan. And then I'll take a look at that report as well, just like I did in the last exercise, as far as the results of the scan. All right, so the scan has officially completed. So as you can see here, and we'll show you exactly how long that scan took, and also what level of the vulnerabilities that it found, right? So I'm going to take a look at the report as I mentioned before. Let's see, I'll just do executive summary here. All right, open file should open up in another, yeah. So pretty similar to the last report that we took a look at. It'll give you the exact amount of vulnerabilities that is scanned, as well as the levels between critical, high, medium, low, as far as to how bad the vulnerability is between Apache, OpenSSL, PHP, and things of that nature. I'll just reboot this and it should open right back up for us. But yeah, so as we can see in the report, the Nessus has detected multiple vulnerabilities, the majority of these being set under the info tab. Well, I could say it's a mix. The majority is really in the medium, but a lot were in the info tab. And typically you would, of course, hope to see potentially a few low or medium risk vulnerabilities or no errors in the report. If there are preventable vulnerabilities detected, you can then use this to escalate to the correct channel inside of an organization and review these in more detail for potential security fixes, of course. And let's see, just gonna close this out. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to take a look at a few different things as far as the fact that the cyber professional needs to be familiar with different types of software vulnerabilities and be able to rectify these vulnerabilities to mitigate a cyber attack, right? So the errors may include, as far as web applications, generating error conditions during normal operations, which is, can result in improper error handling, like out of memory, database unavailable, network timeout, null pointer exceptions. When a web app handles these generated errors incorrectly, it may lead to several security risks for the website, and the security risks that the website will reveal sensitive information to the malicious, which may result in the exploitation of the website. So you got a few dereferencing, which refers to the code in an application that dereferences a null pointer, therefore raising a null pointer exception, right? You have insecure object reference, race condition, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, insecure components, insufficient logging and monitoring, and weak or default configurations. And lastly, a use of insecure function. Like if the insecure function is used in a specific code, it may lead to the exploit in a specific application. So it may cause a buffer overflow attack on the specific, web applications, right? So that'll be all for this video for vulnerabilities. And just for a brief recap, we've covered a few different things, like conducting a software vulnerability scan using AlienVault. We use Nessus, and we also defined a few different software vulnerabilities as well. And we've conducted those scans, and now we have a further understanding of different web application software vulnerabilities. And I'll see you in the next video of the series.